Hey everyone, Mr. Fan here. First off, I just want to say that I miss you all very much and that I'm very proud of you for being resilient during these times. I'm also really proud of those of you who have been really disciplined and responsible when it comes to doing your schoolwork for your classes. Okay, keep it up. The teachers are really proud of you. So, all right, let's get into this. By the way, this is my first time trying to do anything like this, so please bear with me if it's a little sloppy. Okay, I'm learning just like you guys are. All right, so if I was a student looking at this map and looking at all the details of each of these territories, it would be a little bit overwhelming. So if I was an eighth grader, I would try to put into categories the way in which I study this map. Now, first thing I'll say is that you can easily pull up Google and type in blank map of U.S. territorial acquisitions or like map of U.S. territorial acquisitions, and you'll see a bunch of maps like this. Some of them will be blank, some of them will be filled, some of them will be color, but those are great tools to help you kind of study as you're going along. Now, you can also get like a piece of notebook paper and draw an ugly version of this map and kind of like keep practicing by yourself, you know? That's what I would have you doing in class. But so those are some ideas for how to study this, or you can just kind of like get a flashcard or a piece of paper and kind of cover up different sections and kind of quiz yourself. But it's not gonna go into your long-term memory if you're just skimming over it and looking over it. You have to kind of quiz yourself in order to put your brain like into a mode like where it's pressured to actually recall something, which is going to help you remember it. All right, so let's get into this. The first thing I'm going to notice if I was an eighth grader is that, hey, these numbers mean that these locations were acquired in a certain order, right? And territorial acquisitions are just fancy words for land we got. And we got this land at different points in time, right? But we got this land in a certain order, and that order is obviously westward, okay? But because this map that I have in front of you is already laid out in that order, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But what I would do as an eighth grader is look at a blank map of this and see if I could correctly quiz myself on the order in which we got these pieces of land. So like I would look at, for example, the Louisiana Purchase, and I would kind of like quiz myself like, whoa, like, do we get that like before we got Texas, or do we get that after we got Texas? Well, we got it before we got Texas, right? So that's one way I would quiz myself, and then try to like place them in the correct order in which we got those pieces of land. Okay, so that's the first thing that I would try to do with something like this if I was an eighth grader. Now, the next thing I would try to do would be to put into categories like which country from Europe or which European country we got these different pieces of land from. Okay, so if you take a look, like here at number one, hopefully you remember that we got this first territory from Great Britain. Now, you guys sometimes see it as England or the UK. Now, technically, those three things are like a little bit different, but for the purpose of eighth grade history, it's close enough. It's close enough. So today I'm just going to refer to it as Great Britain, but sometimes we refer to it as England, right? So the first territory we got from Great Britain. Okay. Now I would want to quiz myself like, hey, which other territories did we get from Great Britain? Right? And then if I like forget, I would go back to my notes and I would keep coming back to this. But this territory here that I didn't get to teach you because, you know, we haven't been there, but this territory is called the British Cession. Now, we got that from Britain, obviously, not too long after we got the Louisiana territory, just to basically complete this northern border to Canada. Okay. Another territory we got from Britain is a part of something called the Oregon Trail, right? And maybe like some of you have heard your parents talk about it. There used to be this game like when I was younger, like called Oregon Trail, and it was just this silly game on the computer that you could like play with your friends, and then you would like set up this group of pioneers that would travel westward, and then like it was hilarious when like one of your friends died from dysentery on this video game, or like your other friend like ate some squirrel and then got food poisoning, or like whatever. But I don't know, you could Google it, and I'm sure you could download it and play it. It's pretty funny. Okay, but people heard of really affordable land out here. And if you know anything about this territory, it receives a lot of rainfall, right? That's where Seattle, Washington is, which is like one of the rainiest places in the States. So obviously the land there is really fertile, so people really wanted to kind of explore that territory, and they were willing to risk their lives traveling across the country to get there. But long story short, we acquired this land from Great Britain. Okay. Now, for now, those are my territories that I'm looking at that we received from Britain. Okay. Now, which territories did we receive from France? Well, let's take a look. So I know that we got the Louisiana Purchase from France. So I would like quiz myself on that and then like label. Now, did we get anything else from France? Well, at different points in time, perhaps, but our main territory that we got from France was the Louisiana Purchase. Now, I also know that we got a buttload of stuff from Spain, right? So what else did we get? What else did we get, and who did we get it from? Well, we got it from, if you look at Florida, we got Florida from Spain, okay? So there we go. What else did we get from Spain? Well, we get Texas from Mexico, and before that, Mexico got it from Spain. So hopefully you remember a little bit of that from 7th grade. Okay. We also got this little territory from Spain. And then over here, we get the Mexican cession from Mexico, who also previously got it from Spain. Now, this territory here is special because this territory is called the Gadsden Purchase, and although we acquired it most recently from Mexico, we know that they previously also got it from Spain. So I'm going to kind of group Mexico and Spain together. Okay, so that is another way of looking at this map and trying to learn and remember, like, hey, who did we get what from? Okay, so that's the next thing that I would do as an 8th grader. And then another way of looking at this is like a harder way, but it seems not necessary, but for me it helps. It helps me put things in order. It's like I try to remember the dates, because for me, if I like remember the dates, then I don't have to remember the order. Okay. But it's also good because the dates often remind me of like the years of the treaties in which we acquired these territories. Okay, so that's another way you could use this map to practice. Like look at it and then quiz yourself on the dates. Okay, so here, Territory 1, I know that we originally were able to move west after the Treaty of Paris, 1763, but we didn't officially acquire all of this territory west of the Appalachians until we defeated Great Britain in the Revolutionary War. So the Treaty of Paris, the second one, in 1783, gave us this territory, okay? And then going in order, the next one, Louisiana Purchase, 1803, and I'll speed up a little bit, Mexican Cession, 1818 or 1819, and then Florida, 1819, okay? And then this little territory is also 1819, okay? And then we move on to Texas with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and the annexation of Texas and everything from 7th grade. Hopefully you remember that we acquired, or we annexed Texas or added Texas in 1845. Okay. And then if you look over here, section 6, 1846. So the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo like helped us acquire these territories. And we got this section 7 here, the Mexican Cession in 1848, and we complete Manifest Destiny of the mainland in 1853. But what we're leaving out is Alaska, which we got in, I think, like 1867, and Hawaii in like 1898. But for the purposes of this, we can just focus on the mainland. Okay, so that's another way I would quiz myself, is like kind of look over the dates. Now, at first, if it's really hard for you, you're like, how am I going to remember all these dates? Well, just take it slowly. Like at first, maybe just focus on like this one, and this one, and then keep quizzing yourself on just those three and ignore the other ones until you can get it. And then maybe focus next on like, oh, maybe I'll try to do this one, and this one. Okay, and then just add it slowly over time. But you have to challenge yourself and quiz yourself in order to remember this stuff. Okay. And then lastly, now that I've looked at it in 3 separate ways, right? Like first, I looked at it at this map in terms of putting things in order. Second, I looked at this map in terms of like who it belonged to. Third, I looked at this map like in terms of like which years did we get what. Okay. And then the fourth way I would look at this map, the hardest way, is like how. Like how did we get this land? Okay, so I would look at each territory and try to talk to myself about like, hey, how do we get this land, right? So like, oh, well, we got this land by like fighting against Britain and then like winning the American Revolution, etc. Okay. Section 2, how do we get this land? Well, we got it like from the Louisiana Purchase. Napoleon was basically in debt. France was in a lot of debt, and so they had to sell this land ASAP, and we basically got it for a bag of chips. Okay. And then I would kind of go through and quiz myself on like how we got the different territories. Now, that might be hard for some of the ones that you haven't heard of as much, but hopefully you're able to at least explain how we got pieces of land here, here, and here. Okay. And then if you remember this territory here, like on a map, I think I taught you this in 6th grade. This is that you can area. Remember in 6th grade, we were like trying to memorize like where every single state was. And you guys were like, whoa, like how is that even possible? Well, remember one strategy we used here is like you can. Right. So we have Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And I always just try to remember that, hey, like the Mexican Cession ceded us these states and a couple other states like Nevada and parts of California. Okay. But that's not everything. But for now, to keep this video short, those are some things that you should reflect upon and kind of like push yourself to study moving forward. Because to me, is it really about this map? No, it's really not. Like, it's really not about this map of territorial acquisitions. This map is just a tool that you're using to be able to build your brain and like be able to look at a graphic in high school and in college and like be able to break it apart in terms of different layers, right, of this cake, and like be able to process and organize information about each layer of information and tie it to this like bigger idea of westward expansion and manifest destiny. So like I understand that you might not use this after 11th grade, but the skill of being able to process this information and like understand how to study different categories of information relating to one topic is going to help you no matter what field of study you're in. Okay. And so that's really my goal here. And this is just the tool by which I'm trying to get you to practice those skills. And that think that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to start with for today. Again, sorry if it was a little choppy, but I just wanted you guys to have at least something to kind of ground yourselves in with this particular lesson, because it is a little bit overwhelming and it really sucks that I can't be there to walk you through it. Okay. I love you all very much, and I hope that everyone and their families are well. Okay. Peace.